The British refused to recognize Israel. And when Jordan conquered the West Bank, they recognized it as Jordan. So Britain turned their back, America turned their back. Britain armed the Arabs. Yet still, we chased you out when you came to slaughter our people. Tragically, the only child soldiers in the world where the West applauds them and claps for child soldiers is Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Palestinians regularly recruit children to fight Israelis. And he's saying, yes, we do. He's proud of the child soldiers. Every single peace offer the Israelis have given the Palestinians, they've turned around. Why? For one simple reason. To make peace with the Israelis would be to recognize a Jewish state on what they believe is Palestinian soil.
So what are you going to do if time turn?
Majid, listen, I'm going to flip it on you, sir.
You 2 minutes, 3 minutes talking, man. Come on, Joseph.
One question for you. One question for you. What have the Palestinians done for peace?
For peace?
Yes.
Well, my friend, we were in the middle of...
Sorry,
you went 10,000 years back, man.
Well, all the cameras turn up. It's very simple.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name is Joseph.
Joseph. My name Majid, yeah?
Majid, nice to meet you.
Okay, so you said Jews from Bilad al-Sham, yeah?
No, I didn't say Jews. I said that's one of the names of that region. Jews are from Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land. Eretz HaKodesh.
Okay, so where... Okay, so...
I'm just going to put my cameras under these cameras here. This guy's got a hot head. Calm down, brother. Calm down. You spat at me before.
Calm down. Listen, calm down.
Is that your brother?
Listen, calm down. It's not my brother.
Why? You don't know the Jews.
The Jews are not their brother. Not his brother. Pardon?
What do you use your money for?
My, £70. What do I use? There's £70 I made on YouTube. I bought a Rolls Royce with my £70. With £70. That's what I use my money for. There's £70. All £70. Every week I come here, I buy brothers like you coffee. My community
is going killing innocent people.
He's now saying the Jews are killing innocent people. This is the level of hatred that Jews face in this corner.
No. The Zionists hate the Jews.
The Zionists hate the Jews. So I am a Jew, sir, and I am a Zionist. Do I hate myself? Zionism is Jewish liberation because we're tired of living under the boots of people like you. We are not under your heel anymore. We are a liberated people.
Okay. I have a question now. You said you're not living under the boot of other people.
Yes.
At the moment, under which boot you living as Israeli nation, a country?
Israel, for the first time in centuries.
No, talk about now.
I'm talking about. For the first time in centuries, the Jewish people are capable of defending themselves. And that makes people very scared.
I'm talking about now.
I'm talking about now. I'm talking about today, sir. If you can't keep up, I can't help you.
No, I'm not trying to argue with you,
okay,
honestly.
calm. Have a nice conversation. Okay.
I don't hate you
Majid,
or nothing.
Honestly.
My conversation.
So let me put it in words that you'll understand.
Under which boot you living now as an Israeli country?
So for the first time in centuries, we're not under anyone's boots. The United States does not support. But the Biden
United States not supporting.
Does not support.
United States not supporting Israel. First time I hear that. Okay. And Britain?
So, are you here for a conversation or a mock?
You not answer me.
I've answered you every time and you haven't understood, Majid.
I do understand, man, but you went far away.
Majid, put your camera this way because I'm going to speak in this direction, sir.
Okay.
Because there's a number of cameras here.
Because I asked you a question, please answer me.
Okay. So, what I mean by we live under the boot was when we lived under Khulafa, when we lived under empires, when we lived under feudal states, we were oppressed. We had no autonomy. We were dependent on the caliph or the king saving us when people rose up to persecute us. For today, Majid, you can talk. Majid,
the kitchen in Spain. You went all of you to Morocco.
Are you here to ask me questions or educate me?
No, because you said something not true, man. I have to answer you.
Okay, so the Al-Muhadun, do you know who they are?
Yes.
The Al-Muhadun.
Al-Muhadun.
Yes, do you know who they are?
Yeah.
Yes. For those that don't know, in English it's the Almohads.
Yeah.
Around 800 years ago, they put thousands upon thousands of Jews to the sword because they refused to convert to Islam.
Yeah, come on, use it.
Now, there is a comment, there is a lie.
Where is that? Where can I find that? The source.
Any history book on the Maghreb.
No, that's not answer. Any book in the library, you'll find it. Come on, man.
It's like asking for a book on the Holocaust. There are many, many, many books written.
No, you need to have a source so I can go back.
Okay,
and look
Bernard
at it.
Lewis. Bernard Lewis.
Bernard Lewis.
Bernard Lewis will cover the Al-Mahdoun.
Bernard Lewis.
Even better, if you go to a rabbi called Moses Maimonides, you can go to a primary source where in Igeret Teman, the letters to Yemen, he describes the persecution that Muslims inflicted, the Al-Mahdoun, inflicted on the Jews in the 1200s, in the 13th century. So I'm literally giving you primary. The Al-Mahdoun are from Morocco. Educate yourself, sir. Actually, that's why I'm here. I am here to educate you, to clear the sawdust out of your ears, and to give you a real history instead of this fake Dawa history that they give you.
Believe me, if there was no Muwahidun, all the Jews in Europe would be slaughtered.
You hate them.
Sorry, say that again.
If there was no Muslim or Al-Muwahidun he just mentioned, Al-Muwahidun in Morocco,
Okay, I'm going to give you a history, Majid,
most
because
of
you
Jewish
need help.
and Christians would be
Majid,
slaughtered.
Majid, you need help. History, not like, not
Why Jewish and Christian world in Europe moved to Morocco, to Muslim countries? Why?
So here, let me help you, Majid.
No, help yourself.
There have been.
they go holiday?
Listen, Majid, my
Okay,
brother,
I'm
my
listening.
friend, listen,
Okay.
please, Khaver, listen.
The Moroccan Jews are very good Jews.
There have been caliphates, khulafa, who were good for the Jews. There have been khulafa who were good for the Muslims. There have been other khulafa that oppressed Jews and they oppressed Muslims. All I'm saying is very simple. We as a Jewish people
You're not Jewish.
don't want
You
to
are not
wait.
Jewish, my friend.
And you
You are a Zionist.
Just go ahead, don't worry about it. Go ahead, go ahead.
He's a Zionist.
You're answering my question
There are
now.
khulafa that have been good to the caliphates that have been good to the Jews and caliphates that have been bad. As a Jewish people, we are tired of having to depend on a caliphate to be righteous and merciful,
Yeah.
because we don't think they
You've
have
done
our
the same thing.
La.
No, you rely on America and Europe now. Come on,
Astaghfirullah.
man.
So in 1948,
No.
in 1948, 5 Arab armies invaded Israel.
Yeah.
The Israelis at that time were refugees from Arab massacres, from the
Who
Holocaust.
supported you?
Listen, nobody. In 1948, listen, you're going to get an education, sir. In 1948,
This is new
there
one.
was one rifle.
heard of it.
In 1948, there was one rifle for every 3 Israeli soldiers.
Okay.
They had so poor weaponry that they had 2 planes which they had to
As
buy.
I understood, there
Listen,
was a
Majid, you ask a
of
question.
weapons were arriving from Europe,
Majid,
from
if
America,
you ask a question,
and
you listen to the
whole-
answer.
You're making up a new story. That's not reality.
Majid, they had 2 Messerschmitts, which they bought from the Czechoslovakians. 2 planes.
Messerschmitt is a German rifle.
Plane.
Plane, okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
They had 2 planes,
Yeah.
1 rifle for every 3 people. In contrast, the 5 Arab armies
And how
that
did
invaded.
you-
Majid, listen, sir, or I'm going to stop.
Because I can't leave you
Majid,
talk for 1 hour.
Then if you don't want to listen or talk to someone else for that, because I don't do this. Yes, no, yes, no. I give you an education, sir. I'm here to enlighten you.
Yeah. Okay, so now
No, we're not running away. We're not running away, Majid. We're staying on topic. In 1948, 5 Arab armies invaded. The Jordanian Arab League was fronted by British officers. They had the best British weaponry you can imagine. The Arab League.
which one?
The Arab League was the Jordanian armed forces. They were the most well-trained of all the Arab forces in 1948
And why
war.
they lost the war then?
They lost the war because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed my people. We were victorious over 5 Arab armies and we were refugees fighting with nothing. We weren't backed by the Americans. We weren't backed by the British. The British turned their backs on us. The Americans put in place an arms embargo and refused to sell weapons. Yet with 1 rifle for every 3 soldiers,
now?
we wiped out 5 invading Arab armies and chased them back into their countries.
talk now?
Chased them out.
Can I take? Joseph,
You can. And I'm going to get a drink and listen.
A blank check. Write how much you want. And you go to F-16 and you hit a man with a donkey and a monkey. With the F-16, boom, boom.
Now you
Allah
have a
said,
rifle,
man.
brother. Why you kill
Go and hit Putin.
Why?
Go to Putin. Where is Putin?
And by speaking to
Joseph.
Majid or the brother in the black t-shirt?
Joseph, just be logical with me, yeah? I'm not here to shout, to scream. I don't do this thing. Otherwise, I'm going.
Well, you keep interrupting me, Majid.
No,
Well,
because this is conversation. I need, if something you said like against what I believe or something not true, I need to stop you and say 1, 2, 3. That's it. I'm not going to cut you for, interrupt you or something like that. No, you can say whatever you want to. I asked you at the beginning under which boot you live now, yeah?
My belly.
Is
Putting on weight. This brother's calling me big. You're worse than my wife. My wife says the same thing.
Joseph,
So make me look bigger.
MI6.
Bulking around the stomach.
That's a
Let-
Mossad.
you just said you fought 5 armies or
Yes.
4 armies
Yes.
and you won, yeah?
Yes.
Let's go back a bit in history, few decades, not much, yeah?
Well, that's what we just said. 48 is a few decades.
So the map you see in these countries fought you, they were part of the Ottoman Empire. So you were fighting with some few countries, independence after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. These countries, new countries, not really have a real army, not trained, not organized. So that's why 5 countries losing 5 armies, even losing a war with. Even Israel didn't have an army.
I mean
they
this,
had an army.
Majid,
that
I
time.
mean this in the most sincere way.
Yeah.
You didn't know who the Arab League were 2 minutes ago. You're not going to educate me on who was well equipped and who wasn't well equipped,
Yeah.
who was well trained and who wasn't well trained.
No,
when you don't even know who the Arab League are, sir, please.
Uh,
That's like trying to educate. I've got one, thank you, brother. I almost said just that.
Okay. If the America and the Western country left up their boots on Israel, how are you going to survive?
So again, Majid, listen, in 1948, there was no support from America. America had an arms embargo on Israel.
Yeah.
The British refused to recognize Israel. And when Jordan conquered the West Bank, they recognized it as Jordan. So Britain turned their back, America turned their back. Britain armed the Arabs. Yet still, we chased you out when you came to slaughter our people. When you came to rise up, listen to what they said. Listen to what Azim Pasha said. He said, we will pave the roads from Damascus to
Where
Jerusalem
you guys come from?
with the
Where you
skulls
guys come
of Jews.
from?
Majid, stay on point, brother. You're jumping around like a bunny rabbit. Stay on topic.
Where you guys come from? You
Where did the children of
Israel come from?
Where did the children of Israel come from? The clue is in the name, Israel.
Okay. And where is that Israel? In history.
Where is Israel? It's
In history.
In history.
Yeah.
So if you go to the British Museum, you can read it written on an Egyptian stele.
3000 BC?
No. So from 3000, around 3200 to around 200 AD, the Common Era, there was Jewish continuity in the land.
Yeah.
Then we lost sovereignty, so we lost control. So the majority of us moved into northern Israel and then outside of there. So you had at the time of the conquest of Omar al-Khattab, you had around 400,000
And
Jews
before
living.
Omar bin Khattab, who
That's
was?
what I'm telling you. But there was the Byzantine Empire, so there was basically Christians.
Yeah.
It was pagans and Christians, but there was a very, very large Jewish population in the land. All that's happened today is we have autonomy for the first time in centuries. The brother here's got his hand up like he's in classroom.
Yeah.
So he asked, what about the Canaanites? It's a good question. Before the Jews went into the land, the Canaanites lived in the land. There was a war between the Jews and the Canaanites, and they ceased to exist. There's no longer any record of them today. And so what happened is the only people that is in existence that still extant from that period today are the Jews. Most of the Palestinians come from modern immigrants to the land. Between 1882 and 1945, there was a population explosion of Arabs immigrating into the land.
Last question.
Pardon? No, the Arabs, the Arabs that came into the land. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So which the future of Israel and the region in whole?
So the future of Israel.
What you guys are looking for exactly in the region?
We're not.
What are you hoping
we're hoping for peace. That's all we're hoping for.
Are you
peace.
working for it?
Yes.
For example, how?
So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
In 2008, Ehud Olmert offered Mahmoud Abbas.
More settlers. There is more settlers.
Brother,
Jewish settlers,
brother, you ask a
more
question and move on to the
land,
next question.
yeah.
You've got the attention
No, no.
span of my little daughter.
No.
You ask a question, then 2 minutes later you ask another question before I've even responded to the
No,
first one.
I ask you, what did
You asked about what would food
for
for peace.
peace and that? You're talking about the prime minister. I'm not talking.
I'm talking about a peace offer that the Prime Minister
Why,
made.
why you don't talk about more settlers, more Jewish, more land you're taking from Palestinians?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Majid.
Because I
okay,
asked
Majid,
you.
I'm going to wish you Assalamu alaikum. Have a peaceful day.
Is that you
don't
can't
think-
answer?
no, it's
Is that you don't want to answer?
It's that you do not allow somebody to answer.
We've
jump
been 1
from
hour talking, man.
Because you're asking me questions.
I ask you, but you go.
Okay,
your
ask
answer is
your
going somewhere else.
ask your question and then we'll wrap it
What
up.
the Israeli doing for peace in the region, for Israel and the region they're living in?
Okay, can I respond now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll give
So-
you a minute. Yeah, give me a minute. Minute. Okay.
In
Do it
2000,
quick. Go ahead.
in 2008, Ehud Olmert offered the Palestinians, Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian National Authority, he offered them all of the West Bank, all of Gaza, with a few exceptions. The Gush Etzion settlement block, and a couple of other settlements would be part of Israel, but in return, the Palestinians would get al-Fahim, and much larger and much richer lands from Israel would go into the Palestinian territory. The old city of Jerusalem, which is the holiest site for Jews in the world, that is our Mecca. They said Olmert offered that would be shared by all people under the custodianship of the Palestinians, the Israelis, the Saudis, the
And what
Jordanians,
happened
and
then?
the Americans. We've got a minute each, Majid.
Finish.
And the holy basin, Silwan, that would also be under this custodianship. There would be the right for Palestinians to return to that new Palestinian state. East Jerusalem could be the Palestinian capital. You know what Ehud Olmert said? Sorry, you know what Abu Mazen said? He walked off. He turned his back on the deal and walked away.
Why?
Because every single peace offer the Israelis have given the Palestinians, they've turned around. Why? For one simple reason. To make peace with the Israelis would be to recognize a Jewish state on what they believe is Palestinian soil.
Okay. And what they done so far? Any Palestinian came back to their land? Anyone, even one person, came back to their land? Did Israel let any Palestinian?
Do you know, Majid, you don't know, how many Jews used to live in Iraq?
When?
No, just 70 years ago.
Many.
How many are there today?
Few, very few.
Very few, like 2 to 3.
Maybe, yeah.
Why? Do they have the right to go back? What about the Jews of every single Arab state? 1 million Jewish refugees, billions of dollars of property loss, huge swathes of land, much larger than Israel,
Joseph,
lost and taken off them.
Joseph.
Do they have the right to go back? No.
Joseph, you know my question, what's Israel doing for the region? Look where you went now. Any excuse?
You said, no, Majid, just because you're struggling to keep up, you said, do the Palestinians have the right to go back? And I said, do the Jews have the right to go
So
back?
what are you going to do if time turn?
Majid, listen, I'm going to flip it on you, sir.
You 2
I'm-
minutes,
I'm-
3 minutes talking, man. Come on, Joseph.
One question for
Be
you.
fair.
One question for you. What have the Palestinians done for peace?
What?
What have the Palestinians done for peace?
For peace. For peace?
Yes.
Well, whatever, not only Palestinian, the whole Muslim world, if they do...
No. What have the? You asked me what have the Israelis. I answered. What have the
I
Palestinians
choose
done
the
for
answer.
peace?
I choose the answer. I
Because
didn't-
there isn't an answer.
No,
That's
no.
why. Because it's nada, nothing. Efes, zero.
F says, okay, zero, okay. You know, like, I noticed from you, honestly, you're not honest man, and you're talking about, I'm not saying you personally.
I
I'm
mean,
saying
you just
about
did. You just
the
said you know
history.
this about me. I'm not an
Whatever
honest
you
man.
mentioned is, you made it up. You made the story.
I've literally sourced everything I
suit
said.
you people, you know, in
Hassan
a way,
Pasha,
in a way,
Maimonides,
make you guys look good, you know?
the Arab League.
And make the Arabs look bad and Muslim look bad. Doesn't work like
Majid,
that.
answer the question.
if you stay
Instead of
10,000
going to
years-
they go to ad hominems when they don't have answers. Notice how he started attacking my character when I asked what have the Palestinians done for peace. I ask it again, sir. What have you asked me? Now I'm asking you.
Yeah.
What have the Palestinians done for peace, sir? What?
Palestinians don't have a choice for peace because they are.
So you agree?
No.
Nothing.
They don't have a choice. I said I don't have a choice. Yeah.
They don't have a choice
put
to
words
make
in my
peace.
mouth. Yeah.
He's
They
saying the
because-
Palestinians don't have a
because-
choice to make peace.
because they living under the most violence government supported by the most violent criminal Western government as well. That's the reality of the Israel, and that's the reality of America, whoever supported you.
And on
if
that
you look
legit,
back,
you can
if
have
you
the
go
last
back
word.
to
You
history,
got-
200 years ago, man, you slaughtered the whole world, man. You killed millions around the world, man.
Who? I killed
you,
millions
you,
of people
all
around
of you
the world.
together, one group, all of you together, man. You talking about peace? Oh my God, I'm looking at the angel now. Wow.
Wow. He's
And
literally calling me the angel
you
of
go-
death
you
because
going-
I'm Jewish.
So you are in Middle East to spread democracy. Oh, I believe that.
Majid, thank God
yes,
we
yes.
don't live under you, sir.
yeah, I
if
believe
that's how
that.
you view Jews.
You
Thank
guys,
God. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah, yes, Subhanallah. So you guys there, supported by American, British, French, to spread democracy in the region. Oh my God, I believe that. And when I look at your history, it's scary, man. You guys so scary if I look at your history, man.
Okay.
You're so
And on that,
scary.
Majid,
How many millions you
I
killed,
wish you
man?
a nice
together,
day.
man.
You can have the last
Millions.
word. That's your last
Okay,
word.
Joseph,
We
you
killed
take care.
millions.
Nice talking to you.
Likewise.
We do like a quick wrap up, Joseph.
Okay, quick wrap
Yeah,
up.
what a day, Joseph. What a day!
So what happened there was very simple. It happens every week. They come to the Jew and they throw insult after insult. They call us the enemy of peace. They say we've killed millions of people. All of this nonsense. All of this nonsense. And then with what he said, what have the Israelis ever done for peace? So I gave him examples of what Israelis have done for peace. And I asked one simple question back. What have the Palestinians done for peace? Crickets, tumbleweed, silence.
The question you should ask
No, he's not an answer,
the
though.
question you should ask is how many casualties on the Palestinian side and how many casualties on the...
So he asked a good question. How many casualties? And it's a mistake that they make every single time. The mistake is this. Israel, thank God, has a powerful army. But unfortunately, they are fighting terrorists who fight from civilian populations. They fight from civilian populations. The United Nations Relief Work Agency, which is manned by Palestinians, it's a Palestinian organization, condemned Hamas for hiding rockets in schools. Israel,
Wait, in school?
in schools. It's even worse than that. Israel, for the Palestinians, built underneath a hospital bunkers, so in the instance of a war, Palestinian casualties could still be treated by Palestinian doctors under the hospital. You know what those bunkers are used underneath the hospital today? You know what they're used for?
What?
It's Hamas's headquarters. Hamas took the hospital bunkers, which were meant for civilians, and they now fight wars from there. They wage wars on Israel from underneath hospitals. So to answer your question, how many Palestinians died? Tragically, more Palestinians died than Israelis. And it's tragically, I'm going to get there. It's tragically because civilians have unfortunately caught up in this conflict and there are civilian casualties. And so there are around 100 Palestinians to around 24 Israelis that have been killed this year. Yeah? 90% of the Palestinians were armed fighters. They were armed by the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. They were named, pardon? Largely in the West Bank, but then in the latest conflict there was also... No, in the West Bank it wasn't. It was Islamic Jihad. No, it's genuinely interested in the truth. Right, here's the challenge. And I'm going to do it now. If you go...
What's a 15-year-old got to do with...
A 15-year-old, if he comes to stab a soldier, is going to get shot. He asks, what's a 15-year-old? Tragically, the only child soldiers in the world where the West applauds them and claps for child soldiers is Palestinian. Islamic Jihad. It's Palestinian, the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. The Palestinians regularly recruit children to fight Israelis.
Yes, we do.
And he's saying, yes, we do. He's proud of the child soldiers. This is the man who's proud of child soldiers. These are the monsters. They celebrate the death of children. They celebrate children waging war. These are the monsters. The monsters who would put children in front of soldiers because they're too cowardly to fight themselves. They're too cowardly to fight like men. They're here in the UK waging jihad from Speaker's Corner and applauding the death of children.
Free. USA is free. Just use it. You have a blank check. Just
What's
use
my...
it.
The Egyptian border skirmish.
What's that? Sorry, you have to speak up.
What do you think about the Egyptian border skirmish that happened yesterday?
I haven't seen this.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
It was the Jewish save rest yesterday. We don't use electricity. So I haven't checked the news today.
Oh, right, Sabbath.
So Jews follow the Sabbath. In the UK, the Sabbath goes out after 10 o'clock, around 10:15. I fell asleep. This morning I went to synagogue, and then I learned this morning, and now I'm here to debate. So that Saturday was yesterday, and we go to the synagogue every day. We go 3 times a day, sir.
Can I tell you though?
Pardon?
Can I tell you the news, or do you want to hear it later?
You can tell me the news. It's not like a football result. It's not like, don't ruin the result for me.
Are you a Jew?
No, it's a tragedy.
I'm a Jew. Most Jews are Zionists. Okay, you haven't got a clue, sir. I'm an Orthodox Jew.
The guy with the flats.
I'm an Orthodox Jew.
In North London. Attack you.
You saw Neture Carter. They're in Hayram. The Jewish community made takfir on them.
You said, you are not a Jew. You are not a Jew. You are not a Jew. You are a Zionist.
You're an angry old man. You're angry. You're angry.
I am. Because you are a Zionist.
Calm down, uncle. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Put your hands in your pocket. Stop waggling them around. It's not Saturday Night Fever, sir. We're not dancing.